What's going on, people? It's me again with another episode of Lived Experiences, right? Yeah, just me alone here today. I know, gosh. Don't close the window. Gosh, just wait. Let me talk to you. Alright? So, what we're doing today is we're going to be talking about mental health, right? Or like we like to call it in the Caribbean, stress and horrors. That man a real stress boy, digging a whole bunch of horrors. But that's what we're dealing with today. Alright, so let's dive into it. Black people, right? We know we have a lot of things we've been through for the longest while, right? And we're still going through it. So we're already starting on 10, right? We're already starting on 10. And then there's these whole new issues being added on top of it. So what we have to do now is peel back some of the layers. By the way, this is not going to be the longest video because it's just me. I mean, I could bounce questions back and forth and then go on the other side and respond. But I'm certain a few of you might be thinking this is the right episode for me and I might need to be sectioned immediately. But we're not going to do that, right? So if we peel back some of the layers a bit and we take it back to slavery. And the reason I say slavery and not before slavery, as in, yes, black people existed before slavery, is because I would like to think that black societies before slavery functioned in a normal way, just like societies we have now, where everybody have just the basic regular problems. People would get by, people have arguments, just the regular stuff, the stuff that we say, quote unquote, white people do, just life, right? No privilege, no underprivileged. Obviously, there's those little things in society, but not on a huge scale as slavery implemented. So if we look at from then, right, slaves came across. Obviously, the early ones would have been the ones who were fighting and putting up the resistance and all of that. But relatively quickly, they had to learn that you need to keep a lot of stuff internal and hide things away so you can survive, so your family can survive. You might be feeling a type of way, but you feel your type of way over there. When it comes to that plantation and picking them cotton and, farming and all of that, I don't want to hear it. Pack your stuff up to the side, pack your shit to the side, and get out there, pick my cotton. I don't want to hear you screaming and throwing no temper tantrum, nothing. Just go ahead and do it. So, our people knew from then they had to compartmentalize, right? They had to separate themselves, split, like you had to have multiple personality just to survive. And a lot of that has been transferred generation onto generation onto generation to the point where we're in a society where things are moving forward. We're becoming a lot more open, but we still haven't dealt with some of these underlying issues. So you would see or hear about black people who have mental issues, and people might just say, oh, that man, he trip off, boy, he gone crazy, oh yeah, he was mad all the time, he always used to be. There were signs, there must have been signs, right? But I'm just saying, we've had issues, mental health issues since way back then. And as time has gone by, we've been abused, even though we've been said to have been freed. That's the next thing that would mess you up. Somebody tells you you're free, but then they're abusing you at every single turn. So you're free, but you have less benefits than when you were enslaved, so to speak. So that would mess with your head as well. And that would then make you now compartmentalize another set of things in your life. As this is lived experiences, let me just give you an example, right? Something that happened to me, which kind of relates, but it's not the same. Obviously, I'm not as enslaved, and I did say as enslaved as people were back then, right? So, I worked at this one company, and I got promoted to a role, and I'm there, and I was like thinking, okay, cool, when am I gonna get the documents saying this is the new role and this is the new salary? Because obviously you need to demand what you want. I was told, okay, yeah, we're gonna put that in the pipeline. It was probably like, I don't know, Christmas was soon. It's like, yeah, everything's gonna get sorted then. You're gonna get the pay rise at that point. Everything's gonna go through, the bonus, all of these things. And I was like, cool, because this is a role I wanted on my CV, right? I've been put into a management role, which is something I've always been aspiring to and have done unofficially on a few occasions. So now I'm thinking, perfect, let me do that. Boom, doing the work for a while, everything's going nice, people are liking what's happening, the changes are good. And then time comes and somebody goes and sabotages stuff, and now management is saying, well, yeah, we're not going to go ahead and give you guys the pay raises and the bonus. I'm like, what? And it's a funny situation because you can't just come out and just curse everybody like you might want to, because you still need to pay your bills. And this is a problem, right? When you're in a situation where you need to depend on somebody else to pay bills. Sometimes that's the way it goes. Anyway, that really stressed me out. So there was a lot of things I had to deal with internally. So you can imagine on a grander scale where people, you could lose your life over it. So that's something that's been there already. Alright? Now we've come forward to the point where we're starting to be a bit more emotional, or there are talks and more things put in place to allow men in particular, black men in particular, to be a lot more open and emotional. And that's the way we're going. But I'm not going to lie, it's hard. I'm not going to pretend like, oh yeah, since they've said it and things have changed, I'll just automatically make this switch over. I'll be this guy who's like, the minute I feel something in my heart of hearts, I shall speak it onto the... No. That's not me. I'm trying. And it's going to take some time before we get there. So we need some patience as well. Right? So all these things are adding on top of it. You've been told for the longest while that you have to be the sole breadwinner as a man in particular. You have to take care of the people around you. You have to do all these things. And now it's like there's a 180 switch to, okay, you need to be emotional. You need to just cry if you feel like it. And you're like, I've been this way for the longest while because you said this is what I needed to do. And now I'm told I have to be this way. I know it's not an either or, but I'm just saying it takes time. So you have to factor all of that in. It's playing with your mind as well. You don't know how exactly to act. You don't know where on the scale to be. Right? Same with women. Women have been told that they need to be the nurturers, the soft one, the carers. And then we've changed society to where women are now, yes, women should have had equal rights for the longest while, and they still don't. Not in all scenarios and all environments, right? It's getting better, but it's not there yet. But then now a lot of them are being told, okay, you need to now go out and earn a living and do this and do that. And it's a lot of pressure. It is. So you have all these things happening, and then boom, like they say, then boom, Mr. COVID come through. This is not Trump channel. It's not the China virus. No, this is COVID-19, and yes, the 19 is for 2019 Trump. Right? I know he's not watching, but maybe you know how these 6 degrees of separation work. You might know somebody who you tell who might know somebody, and then you get back to the man. So tell Trump from me. The 19 is for 2019. Alright, so yeah. Right, so like I said, COVID hit, right? And then the world shuts down. Most parts of the world shut down, right? And then people are dying left, right, and center. But we need to remember, COVID, the beginning of COVID didn't create a lot of issues. People had issues before COVID happened. So there are people who going into COVID, people who went into COVID, into quarantine, with issues. I had issues going into quarantine. Massive issues that I still haven't even fully dealt with, right? And I know this. For instance, I'll tell you this. For those of you who don't know, my father passed away, about 4 or 5 years now, right? And I'll tell you why I don't exactly remember, right? I could try and think back, yeah, let's say about 4 years, right? It's a funny situation where I hadn't seen him for a long time, right? And I went home for one of my brother from another mother, his wedding, and that's the first time I had seen him in like, I don't know, about 7 years? 8 years? Yeah, something like that, something crazy like that. It could have been closer to 9 years. And I was shocked because, like, I'd seen him and he lost so much weight. And I was wondering, but I was just thinking, probably he's not eating right and all of that. I'm there on holiday, as you do, going for my brother's wedding, like I said, brother from another mother, his wedding. And so I'm not, come on, you know what it's like. You go home, you're meeting up all kinds of friends, it's the beach there, there's parties. I'm just going out every day, right? All the time, and not really thinking, oh yeah, let me just chill and hang out with him and all of that, right? All the time. And then I leave to come back here, and literally like a little bit after that, found out that he had cancer, right? And it was like a really late stage. And it's a weird thing because for me at least, lived experiences, that's what I'm telling you, right? For me at least, I'm there thinking, finally, I'm in a position in life where I've been working, I have money, I can do something now to help. I can, so I was just telling my brother, yo, let's find out what we can do. Where can we, get treatment? What's the start? Let's just get things moving immediately. Then I find out it's like stage 4. So at that point, it's more or less, there's nothing that could be done. Because if anything is done, it's like, it could do more harm than good, right? So, and it's a weird thing because that just messed me up. So I had to go back home immediately. And then when I got there to the hospital and I saw him, it's like I had to walk back out because I started crying immediately because it's like I've never seen him look like that. Like, cancer really eats people, right? So I never seen him like that. And I've always known him as being, because back in the day he used to do karate and all kinds of stuff. So, and we used to talk about all kinds of stuff. So these are the things that I have in my head, right? And then I'm seeing him like this. And I'd probably seen him like twice because it was really, I felt a type of way. Like, me as a person, I keep a lot of stuff inside. I don't speak out much. Anybody who knows me, I don't really speak out much about stuff that's happening with me. But then again, people don't really ask too much. I don't understand it. It's fine, right? But I keep a lot of stuff inside. Then he passed away, right? And I more or less had to come back up for work, right? I mean, I stayed home for like a few days more, sorted out a few things, and like since that point, I kind of I just zipped myself up. Like everything that was happening then, everything I was feeling, I just put it in I just like section that, just put that somewhere and just push it far to the far corners in my mind, because it was a situation where when I got back, I was literally doing everything and anything to not think about it, right? And it got to the point where, like, because we used to watch a lot of kung fu and western films and all these things, that I'd be here, this was after he'd passed away, I'd be here watching a film, right? And I'd be thinking, ooh, he loved that. And a couple times I picked up my phone to text him, and then I realized that, I can't send anything to anybody. So, saying that to say that, yeah, it was a kind of funny, sorry, like I said, there's still stuff that I haven't dealt with, right? But all of these things, I'm going into quarantine with. That's me. There's tons of other people dealing with stuff like this. And like I said, black people compartmentalize things so much. Going to therapy is something that we don't really do, right? We're probably doing it more now. Going for medical attention is stuff that we don't do. So there's a lot of things people think, oh, I'll just keep it to myself. I don't want to say anything. All these things are hurting us. So we have to speak out. Imagine coming into quarantine with these things. I'm not saying that because, so after my dad had passed away, for like the next year or so, I just wanted to get into fights with anybody. I swear. When you see I went out, when I was here and I went out, anytime I saw like, bro, anybody do anything that just that's silly to me, like you might bump into me, I wanted to fight. Like I'm looking for a fight. I'm like turning to people like, what? You know, why you bump into me? You can't say anything? Like I was really on a next level of anger. And I'm saying this because I know that's what it was. I know I didn't deal with all these things. So I was heated a bit, right? So imagine everybody's going into it with all kinds of issues, right? Imagine, like, one of my friends lost a parent as well, and when the quarantine came in, they couldn't even put their family member to rest. Imagine all these things. You've just gone through these griefs, and then, boom, on top of it, you can't even see your loved ones, you can't see people who meant to comfort you, people you can relate to, all these things. Like how? How are you meant to cope? So now, let's come on to coping with these things, right? Because like I said, you've already gone in with some issues, and then you have the quarantine to deal with. So what I'd suggest is, tackle the quarantine first. Because it's a more generic issue that everybody worldwide is facing. So it's easier to talk about this one, right? All the underlying stuff that you had coming into it, you have to deal with those after. But just talk to people about the COVID one for now. Yeah? So for instance, obviously you can't really socialize too much with people. So don't physically, you don't have to do it. Or if you meet up with somebody, keep a distance. There's nothing wrong in meeting up with your friends and chatting to them. Or if you meet them, you want to give a little fist bump, whatever it is, make sure you have your hand sanitizer with you. You just, quickly wash it out. Wear a mask. It's not just for you alone. That's the next thing with a lot of people's mental health. There's people going out there or who are staying indoors with their anxieties. You need to figure out how to not only deal with your issues, but also consider other people. So wear a mask, right? Like I say, dealing with the quarantine, you could start with your friends, the people near you. Speak to them. Ask them, oh, how are you dealing with the quarantine? Stop asking people, how was your day? Or what you doing? Those are so generic. Be very specific and deliberate with your questions, right? Ask people like, how was today on the quarantine? I know you had, you said you were going to da-da-da, or did you go grocery shopping today? How's your mom doing? How's your brother doing? How's your sisters doing, Excuse me, what do you plan to do tomorrow? Make them feel like you actually want to know. Make it feel a bit more personal. Be personable with them, right? So that's one, right? Speak to people and be deliberate in your questioning. 2, get a routine. Design your own routine. And be sure when you create a routine, somewhere in there you squeeze in fitness. You need to stay fit, right? Fitness helps to increase your heart rate. All of this is great for your brain. Get the blood circulating, keep you sharp. Helps with burning fat. Make sure your gut is working right with all the bacteria in there. Everybody's doing what they need to do. Just make sure your joints are fine, your muscles are fine. Whatever you need to do. It doesn't have to be a gym. Just go to the park. Or just sit, you're indoors, you're sitting on a chair, just do a couple of stretches, arms up in the air, behind, whatever the case might be. Do something. Ensure fitness is in there somewhere. It is very, very key. Even if you want to go meet a friend in the park to do a workout, like I said, you guys don't have to touch each other. A little bit of distance, you get your mats out, wherever it is, and you do your workout together, right? There's a lot of people who do online classes, over Zoom or Google Meet or whatever other, video sharing app there is. Go do that. Get yourself into a routine. That's the second thing, right? The third thing I'm saying is speak to somebody. Not just about, oh, how you doing and things like that. If you can, speak to a therapist. If you can't, speak to a friend. But try and dedicate, whether it's once a week, where you speak to friends. Telephone, video calls, whatever. And choose somebody that you really trust and you think cares about you. So you guys can talk about deep issues. Somebody who's not going to laugh at you if you cry. Okay, you cried, so what? They're your friend. Crying helps you get that off of you, and your friend should be there for that, right? So speak to somebody at least once a week on deep personal stuff, somebody you can cry around. So remember, one was, when you're on the phone to people and you're asking them about their day, be a bit more personable, right? Ask them more personal questions, not just how are you, but specific questions, right? That's one. Two is create a routine that you have, right? Squeeze fitness in there for certain, right? Three, like I said, pick at least once a week when you can speak to somebody, like one person, one-on-one, and you can get deep about how you feel and things like that. And somebody you can cry with, and somebody who won't laugh at you, like I said, somebody you trust. Fourth one is find courses online. There are free courses all over the place. Tons of them. There's been lots of things that you've been wanting to do over the years. Always putting it off because you don't have the time. Well, we had tons of time. Tons of time, right? And it might sound like I'm trying to say, oh, yeah, just distract yourself. Yes, distract yourself. Yes and no. You're distracting yourself, aka keeping busy. But no, you're not distracting yourself because you're learning, you're getting things off your chest, you have more time, so you use it more effectively. That's the whole point, right? And the final one is subscribe to the YouTube channel. Seriously, subscribe to my YouTube channel. I have a lot of fitness related stuff there, different discussion things, and I'll be having way more lived experience topics coming up, right? So I hope some of these were helpful. Please do like, share, and just leave some comments in the bottom, right? So leave some comments below. If you have or know of any sites where there are free courses that people can do, drop them in there. If you're open to talking to people, let's say you're a therapist, you're open to talking to people, even if it's to do an hour of pro bono work a week, drop a message in the comments. I'm trying to expand this whole thing, to try and reach out to more people. In particular, I'm not saying only, but in particular, to black people, younger people, black people, to help them see that there are other ways to deal with things, and there's ways to stay fit and healthy and all of that. So if you're interested in helping me, drop me a message. Anyway, take care of yourselves. See you guys soon. And this was Lived Experiences. Alright, see ya. Also, being in lockdown has brought its own sort of issues. Me and Habby we argued a lot, right? But these things happen. You just now have to try and figure out how to handle the dynamics, the new dynamics. Because now you're constantly in each other's faces. And the fact of the matter is, humans are not really meant to live like that, right? Everybody at different times wants their own free space, wants to be able to think differently and just sometimes not think or not speak to people and all these things. And everybody is allowed to do it on their own time. So imagine I want my free space and my time to think, and that's the time when she wants to socialize. Then she wants a free space and time to think, and I want to socialize. Obviously conflicts are going to come up then, but that's when you just have to talk through things and hopefully things work out the way it's meant to. So these things happen. Quarantine has brought its own issues. Just deal with them one at a time. Don't try and say, okay, big plan, fix everything. It's not going to work like that. Alright?